everyone. Welcome back to RTS and welcome back to another start to finish layout. And today we're going to play with our Krunch kit that we put together last week, all based around this Saint-Tropez by Prima, this beautiful collection, this little 3x4 set. And so then also we're going to play along with the monthly celebrations YouTube hop. So definitely hit that show more button below and look at all the gals that are participating in this monthly celebrations hop and see what they're scrapbooking too. Now I'm going to do a couple of things different. And I will tell you, I've already had a fight with a gnat somewhere on my desk. And so you will probably see a blooper or two at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so for this monthly celebrations, I told myself, what do you celebrate in August? And for me, I personally don't celebrate anything in August. When I was little, I celebrated because I always enjoyed going to school, so that was fun. And then also too, when I was little, we celebrated the dog days of summers by going to the local swimming hole in a creek. Yes, now some people say creek. We say crick in my neck of the woods, but you can't go swimming in a creek anymore. It's too dangerous. You don't know what you're going to get. And so then as an adult, and as my little one has grew in the last 4 years, I haven't celebrated anything in August because she was always heading to college. I definitely did not celebrate that. So I was kind of hung on that. I don't have anything to celebrate. So I went to the internet and I thought we're going to look and see what everybody else celebrates. So that's what I'm going to do. So I found this website and it has 31 reasons to celebrate in August. I'm always up for something to celebrate. So on August the 5th is Friendship Day. And I thought, oh, that would be fun. I could record this story about some friends. So then August the 6th was National Root Beer Day. I'm sorry, National Root Beer Float Day. And I thought I could get on board with that. August the 7th, Raspberries and Cream Day. Could get on board with that. August the 8th, International Cat Day. And I thought, I have some family members that always send me photos of cats. I could do something a little different. Put some love towards the feline friends. And then I thought, okay, we got to August the 9th, National Rice Pudding Day. And I thought, yep, there we go. That's what I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to record the story about rice pudding and how rice pudding is a family treat and it means something special. So that is what I'm going to do. So I am going to have that link below so you can look at the rest of the month because there truly is always something to celebrate. Each day is a blessing, is it not? Okay, so with that, I decided, okay, so I'm going to do a layout about rice pudding. Haven't made it for several weeks, about a month or so. And I don't have any recent photos, so I went to the internet again. And I got a photo. And so I printed this photo from the internet. And it's just from Google Images. And so when I do something like that, this was something I struggled with for years because I wanted to tell the story. I had a layout in mind, but didn't have a photo. And so I put it on the back burner or I completely forgot about it. So then I decided I could use the internet because remember, our photo is just a representation of what the story really is. The story is going to be your journaling and how you take that story and interweave it with the elements that you choose for your page. So the photo is just one of those elements. It doesn't have to be your photo to record the story. So what I did and what I do is when I look for a photo, I look for that mood and feel. Now, when it came to rice pudding, I wanted it to look like something I would absolutely serve to my hubby and my little one. And so I found this beautiful photo that this rice pudding looks exactly what I make in the same type of white bowl and with these same yellow dishes that I have. So I just thought this was wonderful. I probably wouldn't serve it with a lace napkin, but you get the point. This is not my photo, but it will help me tell the story of rice pudding. So that's what I'm going to do today. So the other special thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to do an 8.5 by 11 page today for my lovely subscribers that are 8.5 by 11 scrapbookers, because nowadays they kind of get left out in the cold because a lot of people don't show that size. And that is how I absolutely started scrapbooking, was 8.5 by 11. Then manufacturers started producing 12 by 12 paper, so you had to kind of basically migrate to be a 12 by 12 scrapbooker. So then with that 8.5 by 11 page, I'm going to show you how I'm going to convert it to a 12 by 12 page, because that's what I scrapbook. Okay, so let's get with it. Here's my photo. You know what I'm going to do. It's rice pudding. Let's go, folks. Yes, now this is the sketch I'm going to use. It's from Page Maps. And this is from October 2010. And when Becky Fleck, she had some issues with her website a few years ago. And so some of these older files did not make the cut, or they didn't make the new cut, I should say. But I'll see if it's down there. If not, I'll just link Page Maps. But the sketch we're going to use is this one right here. It's an 8.5 by 11 vertical, but it's basically just a band, and we're going to put it on a block with a mat. It's really nothing. It was just something to get me started. So we're just going to start playing here, and we're going to record the story about rice pudding, and then later on in the next segment, I will tell you why it's so special. And then, of course, you know the rule. If you talk about a recipe, you have to share that recipe. So if you hit the show more button, this family is my family, what I use for our rice pudding, that recipe will be listed below, because I'll tell you the story about that. So I have this Prima as my inspiration. Of course, I love it on this floral because I'm a floral gal. I love it on this wood grain. Oh yes. Now, let me tell you something. This background is so beautiful. The photo is done so well because, you know, it was done, I'm sure, for a food blog or something. Again, this is not my photo. It just came from Google Images. You could take something that is so striking as this photo and something as so striking as this background, and that is purely your page. Add a title, some journaling, a few embellishments, you're done. You do not have to add a lot of paper to a piece of paper that's already so gorgeous. Ooh, that's gorgeous. Now, if that was clam chowder, that would be even better mood and feel. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm just getting silly here. Yes, okay. So I think what I'm going to do, looking at this sketch, now you have to mind yourself, I have to think of a background because I'm going to convert this to 12 by 12. So I'm going to need basically a tone-on-tone paper and then something with a bold mat. That's what I'm going to do. And then, of course, something pretty. So for this 8.5 by 11 with Page Maps, they do not give you measurements, but as I scrapbook, I will give you my measurements. So in case this sketch is no longer available, I don't think it is. A lot of those files did not make the transfer. So I think I have some mint papers here, and I will tell you right now, I already know there's one paper I'm playing with, and it will be this one. This will be my main embellishment paper. So I have that to the side because I know that's going to make the cut somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to go. I think this is what we're doing here. Yes, I like this. Actually, I like this mint. I like this. I like it all. Yeah, of course, that is just... Can I just say it one more time? It's gorgeous. Yes. And that's really quality paper. I could do the stars, not in the mood for that. That's a pretty mint piece of paper too. So what I'm going to do is I always take my photo, my focal photo is never far from me. And I think what I'm going to do is this right here. I think that's what we're going to do. So let's just start cutting. Shall we? Absolutely, we shall. Okay. Now you'll see which one of these papers in this pile is going to make my background paper. Stay tuned for that. Okay, so let's put this to the side and let's start playing. And I'll tell you a little bit more about this rice pudding story. So for years, my hubby's mom, of course, rice pudding is basically an older dessert. It's been around a long time. So my hubby has always loved rice pudding, but he loves his mom's rice pudding. You know how that goes. Yes, the mom's rice pudding. Okay, now this pink tone on tone, guess what? It's a Christmas paper. But no, I'm using the B-side. And so I'm going to cut this down to 8.5 by 11. And so I'm going to decide which way I want that. So we're going to do 8.5. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that. Excuse me. So, of course, my mother-in-law was one of these ladies that never wrote any recipes down. Never, ever, ever wrote recipes down. So one day we were traveling, we were in the vehicle, and I said, hey, Mom, how do you make your rice pudding? Because I knew my hubby loved it. Okay, now, I better make sure this is 8.5 by 11. Or, yes, 8.5 by 11. Yes, okay. So that means this here is going to be a little less than 8.5 by 11. So... So I said to her, I said, hey, Mom, can you give me that recipe? So while I was in the back seat, she was in the front seat. She was rattling off this recipe, and while I was in the back, and I was writing it down. And so then, long story short, over the years, I was trying to finagle with what she told me without any measurements. You know how that goes. And so one day I came across a recipe that basically was my mother-in-law's recipe, and I was so ecstatic. And so then I made it, and my hubby just fell in love with me all over again. He said, this is Mom's recipe. And so then ever since then, I just kept making it. Yes. Now, I do mine a little different than Mom did, but that makes it my own. Yes. And I will definitely have the recipe listed below. The secret is vanilla. Vanilla, yes. Now, sometimes, let's just get a little catty and chatty. Sometimes people will give you a recipe and they will purposely leave something out, or they will not tell you a tip or a trick because they want to keep it themselves. Don't understand it. I will never understand that. But I'm not saying that's what my mother-in-law did. I'm just saying I finally have the recipe, and so now I'm the queen of the rice pudding around here. Yes, and I love making it for family and friends. And so there's my 8.5 by 11 page. So my pink tonal and tone is 8.5 by 11. And so this beautiful mint green with a wood grain flourish there, little design, is just a little less than 8.5 by 11. I just took about 1/4 of an inch. So that would be what? 8 1/4 by 10 3/4. Yeah, you get the drift. So looking at this sketch, I'm simply going to put my photo here, a band of paper, and then we're just going to get jiggy, and we're going to play some with embellishments. Now remember this was my starting piece. And so this is the piece that I want to play with. So I'm going to have to marry these two pieces together. And so I'm just guesstimating. Now, it's been a long time since I played with an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. But, I mean, I cannot honestly believe I used to scrapbook this size. Unbelievable. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to keep everything in a band, just like the sketch showed. It's really just a band of paper, and then a band with a photo, and a band of something. So I could definitely get in one of these Prima cards. Yes. Now I wanted to include the recipe with this, and I think what I'll do is, since I'm going to be typing up the recipe for the video, I'm just going to probably put it on a piece of copy paper and insert it behind, within the page protector. That way it's there if someone happens to find it one day. But as long as my little one has it, I'm not really worried about anybody else. So I'm getting ready to work on a recipe book for her. So maybe I will show that process too, because that rice pudding recipe will be in there. So I definitely could incorporate one of these cards, and I'm just flipping through. Now the back would be pretty, not what I want, but it would work. Okay, what am I looking at? That is going to compete with the flower I want to use. Okay, what do we find here? No. Okay, I might have to. Oh, there we go. Let's do this one. I think that was the one I had intended. I think. When I was looking through that. I think that's the one I intended. Because I'm going to do a Laura Whitaker trick again. Absolutely. Okay. Because if you notice, this says Summer Memories, and even the bike banner says Summer. I'm going to be covering that up because this really isn't a summer memory. It's a rice pudding memory. Yes. Okay, so now we're going to need a band of paper up here, and I definitely wanted to play with this. So let's play with this. Absolutely. So I'm going to cut this. I believe, let me guesstimate, this is 4 inches. Let's try a 3 by 6 because I know what a 3 by 6 looks like. Now, when I'm cutting a 3 by 6, do I want to cut it this way or do I want to cut it this way? I guess it makes no difference, but it does for me. Okay, so I'm going to cut some of this away because I want this main image. So you see what I did? I just cut some of that off of there. because I want that full floral image for my 3x6. Of course, I have a bowl here. So I hope you're scrapbooking right along with me. And if you love rice pudding, give this video a thumbs up. Absolutely. Okay, so there is my 3. We're going to cut it at 6. I guess we just got we got busy, didn't we? We just got right to scrapbooking. So I have 2 options there now. Because, let's see, I think they're basically about the same image. I'm just looking at what has more of the pretty roses. I like this one. So we're going to do something like this, and then we're going to play with something like this. So you can see how fast my page is coming together. I love sketches because I didn't have to think about any of this. I was just told automatically what to do. Now I could cut that down if I wanted some spacing. I don't know if I will. Depends on how this jobby goes right here. So what my plan is to do is that I'm going to go through my embellishments. I pulled some wood veneer here to play with because once I decided that I was going to absolutely scrapbook about rice pudding, I got it some wood veneer. Of course, what was in along with my fruit? It was a jar of milk. Well, this is making the page. Now, I will tell you, it probably won't look like the right scale due to this bike, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to get this can of milk in there somewhere. Just for some fun. Of course, I have some other wood veneer, and I don't know where they're going to go. I'm just putting that there. I do like this one. So what I could do is I'm going to cover up, it says Summer Memories. I'm going to cover that up with something. It could be a banner. It could be a piece of wood veneer. I have these flowers to play with. And after I get my background basically decided on my bare bones design, then I start playing with embellishments. And then once I start to get a little bit of an idea what I want to do for embellishments, then I started hearing things down. But I have some flowers here. They have never been opened. Well, I guess we're going to open them now. There we go. Yes. So, in the comment section below, does your family like rice pudding? And if you don't know what rice pudding is that it's basically rice within a vanilla pudding mixture. That's basically what it is. And I will tell you the secret is that you do not use instant rice. You cook your rice. Okay, so I like these yellow flowers. That's pretty. See the yellow bike? I let that yellow there, determined to put something yellow there. I'm just playing at this point. Yeah, I'm just playing. So even though I won't figure out anything, if I put a flower there, that's the representation to do a flower. And I think I would probably do my wood veneer in a visual triangle. Don't know if this is what I'm using, but it's just the idea. What else do I have to play with? Okay, I have an embossing folder. I could play with that. Okay, so now with an embossing folder, you would be saying, well, what are you going to emboss? Okay, well, you definitely can't emboss the wood veneer. So since this journaling card is small, I could run that through the embossing folder, or this 3x6. I could run that through the embossing folder. And sometimes embossing is just simply that, embossing. It isn't to make a big impact. It's just a little added something. And so I think because I'm going to put my journaling on top of that, I will skip that. So I think I will run this 3x6 piece of paper through my embossing folder. Now, how will I do that? I simply will just run it through this way or this way, either one. It doesn't matter. It's Swiss dots. And then once I run that through, then I would just move it and run it through again. So no wrong way to do that. So that is the plan for that. And then what else? I have this banner. This would make a great addition for underneath that wood veneer, or even to cover that up. And then with this one that says summer, I will simply, and I do not use these balls. This is why I do not buy a lot of Prima flowers, because they have a lot of hard centers, and for most scrapbookers, they're hard to use. There's great big lumpy, bumpy flowers I don't use. But I definitely just rip out the centers. You know I have all of these things to play with. Okay, what do we got? A camera, an anchor, a globe. I don't know if any of those would work, but we have those to play with. Oh, that's really pretty. Really pretty, like those colors. I'm not digging that. I have those. And then I have these one canoe too. That would be pretty. I could put one of those on there. So since I had the yellow in the bike, then I just found something that was in my kit that was yellow, and then pulled my tools, which is this embossing folder, and then I'm just going to play with that. And then here I'm just going to do a little bit of journaling, and I may also, where's that other piece of paper? I had another piece of paper. What did I do with it? Well, say if it's this one here. And I could also put a little piece of that additional paper right here. And so what I will do is I will do my journaling, and then whatever space I don't need for my journaling, I will fill up with this paper here. I could do the reverse, but I'm going to do that. So say if it's cut about right there. It depends on my journaling. Or I could just cut this and then put my journaling on top of that. I could do that too. So you can see the design. It is a band on top of a block piece of paper. Now, when I'm all done with this, I'll come back with a finished layout, and then I will show you an easy hack to convert an 8.5 by 11 page to a 12 by 12. So that is my page. Very simple, very fun. And we're going to get busy with some rice pudding. Okay, hold on. All right, I am back with my finished 8.5 by 11 page. I don't say that very often. I don't think I've ever said that on the channel yet. But if you look at my page, it was exactly what I had just talked about in the previous segment. I simply shifted everything over to the right because I made room for my title of rice pudding, and that is just done in a wood grain thicker font. Very fun. So then all I did was apply those items to the page, and then you'll notice that those elements that I used, I kept everything in a band, but then I also made them into a grid because I gave them spacing in between. So I took that grid, formed it into a band, and put it on a block. How fun is that? That is combining 3 go-to designs. And so then, of course, you can see I got my wood veneer in a visual triangle. Those hazelwood 1 Canoe 2 puffy stickers, and added that little bit of yellow in there. That is, again, in a visual triangle. And my enamel dots are in a visual triangle. Very fun. And of course I have 3 little clusters going on there. And then it is a very simple page, but it doesn't look simple because of the use of pattern and the use of color. And then how did I use my embossing folder? I simply took the paper that I really wanted to be the star of the show, and it was this beautiful pink floral, and I took those pieces and ran them through my embossing folder. And sometimes I think, and I am really guilty of this, we overthink things. We think we have to reinvent the wheel sometimes when it comes with our tools, but we simply can just use embossing folder to emboss our paper that we're putting on our page. It doesn't have to be embellishments. It doesn't have to be something pre-made. We can just emboss paper because this pink floral is beautiful on its own, but adding that Swiss dot just gives it another level of wow factor. It's very pretty. And so then with this 3x4 Prima card, remember it said Summer Memories, and I camouflaged that Summer Memories by using a piece of this tone-on-tone paper here that is exactly on the outside, because what I did was I gutted that. Okay, that's what I did. I gutted that, so then I could use this for embellishments. And so then I just layered a couple banner pieces using this Martha Stewart banner. Another way to get a punch in. And I just covered it up, and I put my wood veneer on top of that. And then on this wood veneer here, I layered a puffy sticker and an enamel dot. When's the last time you layered anything on top of wood veneer? How fun is that? Very pretty. So now let's talk about what am I going to do to convert this 8.5 by 11 layout to my style, which is 12 by 12. And if you are a 12 by 12 scrapbooker, don't overlook 8.5 by 11 sketches, because what I'm going to show you is the easiest hack in the world for conversion to a 12 by 12 page. So I'm going to use the background of another Webster's page paper, and it's from Strawberry Fields, and it's called Weathered. That is the A. Beautiful. That is beautiful. Yes, floral wood grain. It's got that jadeite green. This was made for me, absolutely. So I'm going to simply take this layout, and I'm going to do the offset method, and I'm simply going to take it to the left, because remember in my band I shifted it to the right on this, but now this I'm going to shift to the left. And the only reason I did that is because of these florals here and this yellow. I could also went this way, but I wanted to see this. I wanted to see these flowers. And so it would probably go exactly something just like that. And then I also wanted to include the recipe. And so when you're doing a layout, trying to get that recipe onto the page creates a problem because you need the space. And so what you can do, of course, is do a tucking in of, you know, hidden journaling, hidden recipe, that type of thing. So I printed up the recipe on a piece of cardstock, not copy paper, cardstock, because in case someone does handle it, it won't fall apart. And I took that same gutted piece of paper and that other Martha Stewart punch. I'm telling you, when your tools are on your desk within your arm's reach, you'll use them. If you have to go get it while you're creating, you won't. At least I don't. So I used both of those on this layout. Very fun. And now I punched 2 of those because when you flip that over, I didn't want to see the back of this paper. No, that's why I punched 2 of them, because I just, you know, backed them, you know, front and back, so it would look like it was just the same pink. And I just glued them on there, and then I did type out a little piece of word label. It says recipe here, because it's going to be tucked right there, okay? And so, or I can even put it like that. Okay, now this proposes a problem that if you want to see the recipe, what do? You have to take it out of the page protector. Sometimes that's just what you're down to. So the other option is that you can put your recipe or hidden journaling, something like this. Okay, I'm going to show you how to put that on your page in just a minute. And then the person would simply reach from the top of the page protector in this manner, and so then the actual layout itself does not need removed from your page protector. I've done that too in the past, but I will tell you, I'm not a fan of interactive pages. When I put my layouts into an album, because that takes me a long time to get done, I don't want people messing with my layouts. That's just me personally. But I've also done it this way, so the layout doesn't have to be taken out. But then I will tell you what happens. This gets bent and baggered and boogered up over the years. It's just paper. So that proposes a problem too, and it does get dust on it. So either way, you have to consider how you want that done. Everybody has a little different approach with that. Now, some people would do this here, so you don't have to worry about it getting banged up and dusty up here. And then what they would do is they would cut a slit in the page protector, so you would reach it this way without taking the layout out of the page protector. I'm not a fan of that either. I'm just not a fan of interactive pages. That's just me. So I know with this recipe being included, and I'll tell you why I'm not a fan of cutting into a page protector. Our page protectors are getting made cheaper and cheaper each year. The price keeps going up, but you know what I mean. They keep getting made cheaper and cheaper. So when you start cutting slits into page protectors, you might as well tell yourself, make 2 or 3 of that, because over time that will eventually get ripped and tear. It will stretch, and that tear will become bigger and bigger. That is what I have found over, 20 some years of scrapbooking. So I don't cut slits into my page protectors anymore. So I do know I'm down to this. If someone wants to see the recipe, they're going to have to take the layout out of the page protector. So be it. That's just what's going to have to happen. But because I was talking, and I will be saying in my journaling how it took several years to get this recipe down pat in a formula that I knew what to use for measurements, I wanted to make sure the recipe was here for someone if they wanted it. But honestly, I will tell you, my layouts that I create, I do for me and my little one and my hubby, and that's it. Okay, I don't worry about future generations and this, that, and the other thing. I'm just not going to worry about that, because I just really don't. It's just not a concern for me. But I did want to put that on there, long story short, and that's how I would do that. So how do I do that? I would simply, this is where I want it. So I would just hold those both together, such as that, flip it over. Okay, I want it just like that. And then on the back here, what you're going to do is you're going to create a little bit of a window for that to slide in and out, whether you're going to do it from the side or do it from the top. 2 ways to do that. And so you can either use foam tape, and then you would go around where you want that cardstock, or you could use craft foam and do that as well. Now, some people will only do around the perimeter, and then some people would absolutely do more than the perimeter. It's up to you. Now, my craft foam is kind of thick, and so it would create more bulk. I'm not going to do that, because remember, I already have wood veneer on my page. I already have enough bulk. So I will be using this thin profile foam tape found at the Dollar Tree, and I will just go a couple rows, or may space it out. And so then this entire 8.5 by 11, whatever is not in this white cardstock, will indeed have foam tape behind it, because you have to, because otherwise you're going to have some unevenness if you put foam tape just here. Okay, your layout won't lay completely correct on your page. You'll get some, it'll be high here and low here, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to show that. I did get some questions about that, and there is no wrong way to do this. It's the way you want to do it. Again, I'm not a fan of interactive pages. But you know, you do want the recipe there. So I did want to show how I was going to do that. So that is how this layout came together, using that Page Maps 8.5 by 11 sketch as a Kickstarter. And I will tell you, now I filmed this a couple times. I hope I'm not repeating. But when you build a kit and you use just an item as your kit starter or a Kickstarter or a kick in the butt, however you want to say that, if you don't use that item on your layout, don't worry about it. This served its purpose, just that you made the kit. The same way with a sketch. I got this sketch out and it helped me get started on my page. I didn't look at it. When I got started, I didn't even look at it. It was buried underneath some papers. So don't worry that if you use something just for a moment, it still was used in the process. I hope that makes sense. So that is what I have for today, this beautiful layout. I love how it turned out. Absolutely love how it turned out. And of course, my hubby said, well, when are you making rice pudding? Of course, when someone asks me to make rice pudding, I can't say no. So I will be whipping up a batch of my rice pudding. And so the recipe will be included below. It's not my recipe. It's just one that I found that took me several years to find. And it's exactly like Mom's rice pudding. Of course, everybody has variations on that. And so when I make that, when you see that recipe below, I do it in double batches because that is how much it's liked around here. Yes. And it makes for a great breakfast in the morning. Absolutely. So that is all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this monthly celebrations. Definitely look at the show notes below, see what everybody else is celebrating. I am really anxious to see what everybody else is celebrating. I don't think anybody else would be celebrating rice pudding, but hey, you never know what we're going to do around here, right? Absolutely. So come back to RTS because you never know what we're going to do. Bye. This week. And then also we're going to celebrate something in our monthly celebrations with Nicole, Grace, and the rest of the gang. And there was another gnat. Another gnat. Oh, this thing's going to bait me till I die. Where's this thing? Where's this gnat? Great gravy train. Oh yes, make yourself sparse as I turn off the camera. I swear, if my husband brings in one more freaking banana in this household, I'm gonna scream. I don't even eat bananas. No! Oh